Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Mummy. So I got this pretty cool shirt at the screening tonight, as well as the poster, and I was optimistically skeptical heading into The Mummy. My expectations from the trailers were that we were getting a Mission Impossible film with a mummy that kind of pops in sometimes. So basically, I was just hoping for a good time, a fun movie experience. And unfortunately, it kind of came up short for me, even with that bar. So let's go ahead and start off with the things the film does well. First of all, I think it's shot gorgeously. And I think everything pre-Mummy looked great CGI as well. The CGI starts to get very wonky and not so great later in the film. But to start off, it all looks fantastic. But even as we venture into not so great CGI, the cinematography still looks very nice. The locations look gorgeous. So, beautiful stuff there. And for what they need to do, I think the acting is on par. I don't think it's necessarily good, but I don't think it detracts from the film either. Tom Cruise is playing a Tom Cruise character, so we get what we always get when it comes to him in this type of role. I thought Sofia Boutella did very well as the Mummy, and then our supporting cast all brought something nice. In particular, I do think Russell Crowe was good as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So if anything, that at least made me interested, because this seems like a little bit of a different take on that character, and he had a bigger role than actually I was anticipating. So it makes me excited to move forward with that. I also think that the scary moments or the horror type moments in this film worked well, and if I'm being honest, I wish this movie had decided to just go full-on horror take of The Mummy instead of this mostly action with some scary parts sprinkled in type of take. And to go along with those scary moments, it has moments of being fun. There are moments of it being good. They're just scattered few and far between throughout the film. Thus, that brings us to the negatives in the film. First of all, there's a lot of attempted comedy here. That first act is just riddled with what is supposed to be comic relief that just never lands. Whether it come from Tom Cruise, whether it come from Jake Johnson, it just never lands. I don't think there was even a chuckle in my theater as they were trying joke after joke after joke there in the beginning. And there's maybe one or two quick little one-liners that are chuckle worthy later on in the film, but just really the comedy falls flat in this movie. And I said I was expecting Mission Impossible with the mummy running around. The problem is we don't get any really good big action set pieces that are the staple of the Mission Impossible franchise. So it definitely falls up short on that expectation heading in. The plane scene is kind of the biggest, coolest thing that happens, and we've pretty much already seen it in the trailers. So the rest of it all just kind of comes up short and leaves you a little bit disappointed that we don't have these big pieces. There aren't moments that you're going to remember as being, that was awesome, once you leave the theater. There are moments of, that was okay, or that was fun for a sec, but no wow factor. And then we get to pacing, and I think the pacing was all over the place. That whole first act is basically like exposition act. We go from Russell Crowe just doing a weird exposition, like voiceover while he's on the screen, explaining what he's seeing. It was very odd. And then the doctor, the female doctor, does exposition as well. It's like, thankfully, she is recording all of this and explaining to her recording what it is she's seeing so the audience doesn't get lost here. How convenient. But it's just explaining and explaining and explaining through that entire first act. So it felt like a slog. And then I didn't like the ending, at all. So without going into actual spoilers, the end just feels like we've erased all the stakes we've been fighting for and leading up to throughout this entire film. It kind of leaves you just like, this movie almost feels pointless. I mean, I guess it gets us to a little bit different of a place we are at the end than we started, but And of course, I'd be amiss if I didn't mention how racially and culturally insensitive the first act of this film is. It is set in Iraq. All of this village are just like bad Iraqis, bad Middle Easterners. Of course, we don't really get a good Middle Eastern character in the film. And then these two soldiers, people in the army, are like running around stealing things. And then it quite literally shows it's cool, it's fun, it's okay to bomb and sacrifice lives and homes and just bomb villages so you can steal from them. And when that happened, I was appalled. I kind of couldn't believe that we went there. It's back to the same old tropes, and it's just so unfortunate that we're still here. So overall, this isn't innovative and iconic like the original Mummy. It tries to be much more in line with the Brendan Fraser style Mummy, but it's not nearly as fun and action-packed and a good time like those films were. It ends up kind of just being there. Looking back at something like Dracula Untold that was supposed to kick off this dark universe from Universal, at least that one told a brand new story. At least that one gave us a new mythology and a new look at the character. This one does kind of leave you feeling pointless. Like, yes, it's kicking off their dark universe, but this feels like a very weak and unneeded entry to do so. So ultimately, I give The Mummy a rental. I think if you rent it for $1.50 at Redbox, you'll be fine. It's a good enough time to watch at home. If you can't resist, please, just give it a matinee though. It's not worthy of a full price ticket. So, that has been my review of The Mummy. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Mummy? And what is your favorite Mummy film out of all of them, including the original, that whole Brendan Fraser series, all of the Mummy incarnations? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!